going to take a look at a genuine issue MRE from 2016. I'm filming this in June of 2017, and this is the first 2016 MRE I've actually been able to get my hands on. I believe this was packed in August of 2016 because it had a sticker from a commissary that had what I believe was the inspection date from the case, and it was August 2019. The bag itself does not have any date codes on it, so once we get inside we'll find out for sure when it was from. This is an MRE from the Warner Company, and it's menu number 12, elbow macaroni in tomato sauce. The French translation right here. I found this menu interesting because it just sounds, relatively speaking, it sounds incredibly boring. It's basically pasta and tomato sauce. And the menu that this replaced was another vegetarian one. This doesn't say vegetarian on it. Apparently they've dropped putting vegetarian on the bags. But I'm guessing that this is going to be a vegetarian menu because it replaces a vegetarian menu. It replaces spicy penne pasta. And let's go ahead and see what's inside of this one. And here is the elbow mac and tom sauce. And this, let's see, this will give us a bit more information. This little random extra plastic on the accessory pack there. And there's elbow macaroni and tomato sauce. The ingredients, if you want to check those out, you can pause here. And also the nutrition facts. So this has a date code on it of 6118. So the entree, at least, was packed on the 118th day of 2016. So we also have some trans fat-free white wheat snack bread. And we have cheese spread, plain cheese spread. It's actually been a while since I've had cheese spread. It's just a coincidence as far as what you happen to get. And we have a, I haven't seen this one before, chocolate protein drink powder. I'm guessing this is basically like the cocoa beverage powder, but instead it's a chocolate protein drink. And we have a nut raisin mix with peanuts, raisins, walnuts, almonds, hazelnuts, and a bunch of other random things. And we have some original Skittles. It'll actually be nice getting a relatively fresh bag of Skittles. And this appears to have a best by date of November 6, 2017. So even the commercially packaged Skittles is still within date. And we have our standard MRE spoon in crinkly packaging. A little bit different. Nice fresh flameless ration heater with slightly updated graphics. I think these have been around for a couple of years. So it's from the 173rd day of 2016. Hot beverage bag and the accessory pack, which, as I said, has this extra little bit of plastic on here. And if the elbow macaroni and tomato sauce is as bland as it seems like it might be, I think this is going to come in handy, the Tabasco sauce, which has its own date code, 6154. And the accessory pack has a date code of 6221, and also has AHS. I'm wondering if that means accessory pack A, and that includes the hot sauce. I really don't know what the AHS stands for, but that would seem to make sense. With the matches, the brown pack. Also we have coffee instant type 3, freeze-dried, non-dairy creamer, both in the military type packaging, sugar, salt, toilet paper, moist towelette, and chewing gum. Looks like the peppermint chewing gum. Alright, here's what we're getting with this one. Overall, it doesn't seem too bad. It almost comes across as being sort of a light meal, because it doesn't really have a clear side. You have the wheat snack bread and the nut raisin mix, but those seem more like snacks than anything. And the elbow macaroni and tomato sauce gives you 200 calories, but overall it's pretty light on most of the nutrients. Even the sodium at 24% is kind of low for an MRE. And it appears as though the protein drink is making up for the fact that you only get 5 grams of protein in the entree. The protein drink has 12 grams, and the nut raisin mix has 11. I think I'm going to add up the calories and see what you get for this entire meal. It's also kind of surprising not to see a standard MRE drink, like one of the fruit beverages or an electrolyte beverage. This one just has the chocolate protein drink and coffee. And we'll start off by heating up the entree. And since we're not going to need the hot beverage bag for a cold beverage, and since the chocolate protein drink comes in one of these zip top pouches, go ahead and make up the coffee with the flameless ration heater. Okay, I'm going to take as much air out of this as I can. Expecting this FRH to work good. So that's how it's very fresh. Let the water work into the heating elements a little bit. Yeah, and it's getting hot quick. Doesn't take long at all. Slide that into the cardboard sleeve. And put the coffee in on the other side. And then we'll just put the whole thing at an angle on a rock or something for about 15 minutes. Let's check out the nut raisin mix. That looks like a pretty good mix there. I'm always kind of surprised that the nut raisin mix generally doesn't have salt in it. Considering how high in sodium MREs are in general, you'd think that having a little bit of salt on your nut raisin mix wouldn't be a big deal. But maybe I guess they figure you get enough salt with everything else. And if you really need it, they do give you some salt too. This is the white wheat snack bread, trans fat free. It smells like flour. This would be pretty standard looking wheat snack bread, but it's actually kind of pliable. It's sort of nice to get something that's pretty fresh. And we'll take a look at our original Skittles. It's pretty rare for me to open up a pack of Skittles or M&Ms or something like that that's actually within date. And of course, since we have the wheat snack bread, we might as well have something to put on it. We have the cheese spread. So I'll give that a good knead. Make sure it's all mixed up. That is quite bright. It's orange pretty much. And that just leaves us with our chocolate protein drink powder, which says to add 8 ounces of cold water. They do give you the fill line too, in case you don't have something to measure the water. And give that a good shake. And it does say on here to mix it about 60 seconds. Seems a bit long for just a drink mix. Usually that's more like for the puddings and dairy shakes. No, actually it is kind of lumpy. I went think I shook it for over 30 seconds, and pretty vigorously. I thought that would be good, but it is a little bit clumpy. It basically smells like your standard cocoa beverage powder drink. And now we'll check out our macaroni and tomato sauce and coffee. Start with the coffee. Which, actually, yeah, that did get really hot. That worked out really good. And then our elbow macaroni. Which is also extremely hot for being heated up in a flameless ration heater. And I still want to mix it up a little bit and make sure the heat's evenly distributed. Let's check this out. That's what it is, elbow macaroni and a tomato sauce. And there's really not a heck of a lot to say about it. You have the elbow macaroni, like you get in the chili mac. Basically looks like the same thing. And then tomato sauce. You can see there's some little, looks like little herbs and things in here. And there are some chunks of tomato. Not huge, but something to give it a little bit of extra texture in there. It smells fine. It smells like a canned pasta, maybe even more so than some of the other ones because of the fact that it has no meat in it to change the smell. Because it seems kind of boring, I'm sort of surprised they didn't put the TVP in here. Some of the veggie meat. Actually, wouldn't mind seeing some of that in there, but I suppose then it would just be like a vegetarian version of the chili mac. And let's go ahead and try everything out. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not terribly exciting. The macaroni is good. It's not too soft. A little bit on the soft side, but not too bad. And I like the fact that it's kind of thick. It's like you're actually eating something. And the tomato sauce. It's very tomatoey. It's got a little bit of a tang to it. A little bit of a, I don't know. It's not very exciting, but there's nothing wrong with it. And while it's not exactly the same, it is definitely very much like the canned pastas. There's no doubt about that. And I normally would wait until later to dress it up, but since we're talking about it now, obviously if you find this a little bit bland, you can put a little of the Tabasco on it. So we'll try that. And unfortunately you don't have any crackers to crumble into it, which would make for a nice little texture. At least you do have some cheese spread. And this, of course, could be heated, so it'll be more of a liquid. And let's see how that actually, let's try it with the hot sauce first to see how much that kicks it up. Yeah, that does what the did in the old days. It's funny that tastes like the 80s to me. I remember in the old days of the really, really bland MREs, they really had to doctor up. And a lot of people would bring hot sauce along out into the field. Back in the days before they put it in the MREs, which is a very good addition. Let's try it with the hot sauce and the cheese. Yeah, the cheese gives it an extra salty, well, it's a cheesiness, but it's not really the kind of cheese you'd associate with pasta. It's kind of a funny, it has that cheese whiz kind of a taste to it. But it does change it. And if that's still not enough for you, you also have the salt. This doesn't need it, but it does have a pretty good amount of flavor. It's not, despite being a kind of a boring seeming dish, it's not really bland. It's not terribly exciting. But let's try it with some salt too. Salt, hot sauce, and cheese spread. Yeah, that basically just makes it too salty. So, I think it's fine on its own. And if you really find the need to doctor it up, a little bit of cheese spread, a little bit of hot sauce should be just fine. So, speaking of the cheese spread, why don't we try that next? This one is extra smooth and extra soft, but has that standard cheese spread taste that if you've had it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've had Cheese Whiz, cheese in a can, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people really don't like it. I've always enjoyed it. I do like the easy cheese, cheese in a can anyway, so I guess it makes sense that I like this too. And I probably should try some of this really fresh white wheat snack bread, trans fat free. It's pretty good, very doughy, but it's nice that it does have some moisture to it. And it does kind of taste like flour. It doesn't taste like much more than flour and water. But believe it or not, I consider that an improvement over standard wheat snack bread. And when they started putting trans fat free stuff in, I started not liking the flavor on some of them, like the trans fat free brownie. I found it kind of bland, and having something that's already kind of bland, like the wheat snack bread, and taking the trans fats out, it made it really kind of boring. I'm not sure what they did with this, but it's actually really good for a wheat snack bread, of course. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm guessing because of the freshness. Of course, as always with wheat snack bread, and especially with peanut butter, but also with cheese bread, it also makes you thirsty. So we'll have a little bit of coffee. It's still pretty hot, despite the fact that it's been sitting here for a few minutes. And of course, it's just your standard freeze-dried coffee. Let's do some of this nut raisin mix. I think I got a little bit of everything in there. See the walnuts in there, almonds. That's good. Of course, something like this, it's always great to just keep it in a bag and have it with you as a walking around snack. You don't necessarily have to have it with a meal. But despite being also pretty bland because it doesn't have salt in it, all the different nuts have a slightly different taste, even different crunchiness too. Hazelnuts are really crunchy. And then the raisins give it a little bit of sweetness. So it's pretty good. Now I'll try the chocolate protein drink. I don't know if this is by design or not, but it has separated a little bit, so I think I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. Oh wow. Looks like the parts that didn't mix up all that well came to the top. It's almost like, wow, it's almost like a pudding on top. Pretty thick drink. I'm to see how this compares to the cocoa beverage powder drinks. And it certainly looks like it's a little bit thicker. It's quite tasty. It's similar, I mean obviously it's along the same lines as the cocoa beverage powder, but it is thicker. And it does have a slightly different taste to it. Obviously getting a lot of protein with that. I don't know. The next time I get one, I'll probably try and shake it for the whole 60 seconds. It's sort of funny how thick it is. It's almost like a cross between cocoa beverage powder and a dairy shake powder drink. And that just leaves us with some Skittles for dessert. And this, you pretty much know what to expect from these if you've had Skittles before. And I'm not expecting any issues with these, being only about 10 months old. And yes, those are very good and still quite chewy and on the soft side. Yeah, I guess we'll finish up with some peppermint chewing gum. Which is also pretty soft thanks to being fresh. And that was a look at a genuine government MRE, menu number 12, elbow macaroni and tomato sauce from 2016. Thank you for watching.